We took an idea, we organized people around that idea, and we put money towards that idea to structurally change the way that the district looks. School building is neighborhood building, and what your schools look like in your neighborhood directly impacts the neighborhood itself. I grew up here in the city. I went to the school district, and it was like, how can we make the school district that I needed when I was a student here? And so ran for office without being part of the political structure previously. Won my first race in 2020, and now we're here around 3 years later. When I first ran for office, the fire in my belly came from this understanding that if you lived in a certain part of the city, and if you lived in South Sacramento, your educational opportunities and outcomes were vastly different than if you lived in a different part of the city. When we think of facilities, we put money into our older buildings. And usually our oldest buildings are in the least diverse areas of the city. By proxy, you're continually putting money into neighborhoods that are already resourced.
My name is Terrence Gladney. I am the father of two Sac City graduates, both from John F. Kennedy High School. Facilities really are an extension of equity, and a lot of times are foundational in terms of reaching equitable outcomes. And the way that a lot of previous investments in school campuses that happened within our district really were based on political influence or what neighborhood you lived in and what board member you had access to. So there were some high schools that had huge alumni networks that were able to advocate at a school board in numbers. But then when you had groups of students coming and doing the same thing, the outcomes weren't the same. So we understood that, beyond just the age of a facility, educational outcomes as a result of where the facilities were needed to be a factor.
They passed a bond in 2020 around Measure H, and there was a bond money's coming in to do facilities work in our district. And that bond is great, but that bond usually would go towards the same old. The same places before. Communities that I directly represent wouldn't be represented usually in that bond money that comes in. And so we had conversations as a board and through community, like what does it look like to have a facilities master plan that better represents the needs of our district broadly, and how can we have an equitable lens on that? And so we're able to look at this information and really see like, hey, there's areas of need or opportunity that we can directly invest and make better for generations to come. And so that equity index that governs the facility master plan now has us building 3 new schools right in the south side of the city. Those types of investments have never been done previously, but this is purposeful from the board point of view.
So the equity index really did allow us to reshape our mindset and not think in terms of how do we make sure everyone gets something, but how do we make sure the neediest communities and students and families get what they need right now, and use that as a foundation to build hope and inspire the community to support more bonds by building new things and really just building new hope.
So I think about Edward Kimball Elementary School and Cesar Chavez Elementary School. The neighborhood itself, high poverty neighborhood, low socioeconomic neighborhood, high population of people of color. This school that we're going to build is going to be state-of-the-art school, a green school, but also it gives the ability for space and place for neighborhoods and families. And so schools used to be, way back in the day, hubs of a community. Schools used to be a place where everyone coalesces, no matter your race, your religion, your walk of life. School is something that you know that you're safe and welcome there. This school site now, what you're gonna have is the opportunity for indoor-outdoor spaces, garden spaces. You're gonna have art and culture. You're gonna have a community room space where parents and families can come in, hold events, do things like all of those things, those outside indicator things are gonna be at at the school site. On top of that, what people don't talk about much, having a new facility in your neighborhood is directly going to impact the wealth of homeowners in the neighborhood. Right? And so people who've lived in the neighborhood for generations, we have actively impacted their ongoing and generational wealth by building something in their schools that ups their values of their property as well.
My name is Joe Flores, Parks Commissioner for the City of Sacramento. I first met Chinua when we were both serving as Parks Commissioners for the City of Sacramento. He represented District 8, and at the time I represented District 5. We were both the young guns on that commission. A project doesn't happen overnight. It takes many months of planning, many months of coordination, many overtime hours to even bring an item to the agendas. And he's the type of person who actually does the work. And it's because of that extra hard work, listening to folks out in the community on the various topics that affect the students' lives. He's making informed decisions, and then he's helping out the rest of his trustees in those decision-making conversations, because he can literally say, I spoke to this champion here. I went to this meeting over here. I hosted a meeting over here over the weekend, off hours. It's that time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears that one has to put in. I see it every day. And I know the results he has earned. It's because of the many hours put in and the background that no one sees.
There's not a moment that goes by that he does not talk about Southside Pride, and unapologetically uplifts that community into this space where there may not always be representatives on the other side of the dais in the crowd. He makes sure that on record, those communities are not forgotten. So, being on the school board is definitely an opportunity to do that, but also to chip away at these systems. These systems really are mountains, and we would like to think that we can just wipe it all out and repair it. But it really is the continual chipping away and chiseling that allows us to kind of like reform and hopefully get to the outcomes we want for our kids. So,
school board members don't represent buildings. We represent people. We don't represent systems. We represent how the systems impact the people that we represent. And if we can remember that as we do our work, that is when we're going to do the best work for our community members. And so our job is to continue to push systems to work better for people, and push policies that can systemically and long-term change outcomes for residents. And that's what good politics is about. That's what good public service is about. Long-term tangible change for the people that you serve. Whatever next board comes in, they actually have this index and a facilities master plan that governs how we spend our money and where we put our money. And that is the change more than anything else, because now we have a system of how we view the things and how we do the things and where we put the things. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to be part of that and to help make that change. And that's like one of the biggest things. And it's not sexy, but it is impactful. And this is impactful, far-reaching, way beyond my time.